All right. Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be tackling the Staff of Moses,
Okay.
but not the typical shepherd's crook version,
Yeah.
that you might be thinking of.
Right.
Buckle up, because we're going to be exploring some theories that paint it as a high-tech device straight out ancient history.
It's intriguing how we constantly underestimate the capabilities of ancient civilizations.
Wow.
We tend to view their artifacts through a modern lens, assuming simplicity.
Yeah.
But what if they were far more advanced than we give them credit for?
Exactly. Our source material is suggesting that the staff wasn't just a symbol of authority,
Right.
like we traditionally think of it,
Right.
but a powerful antenna. And get this, it might be connected to pyramids, the Ark of the Covenant, even Tesla.
This theory proposes that the staff actually acted as an amplifier, taking the natural bioelectricity in the human body and turning it into a radio signal.
Hold on, are we saying Moses was broadcasting like a radio tower? What are the implications of that?
The source mentions this experiment where touching a metal staff actually impacted a person's aura.
Oh, wow.
And messed with a radio frequency meter.
Yeah.
If that's true, then it suggests that our bodies generate this electrical energy that the staff acting as an antenna could harness and amplify.
So Moses might have been walking around radiating energy.
Potentially.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but how would this antenna theory explain the staff's supposed powers, like parting the Red Sea?
The key could be the length of the staff.
Okay.
So think of modern antennas, right?
Yeah.
Their size dictates the frequency they operate on.
Okay.
So this specific frequency that the staff worked on might have been the secret sauce.
Okay.
The way to communicate.
Really?
Maybe even with what the ancients considered God.
So was Moses tuned into some divine frequency?
It's a possibility.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And was the staff made of any special materials, or was it just any old stick?
Not just any stick. The source suggests that it might have been made of something conductive, like brass or even gold. And get this, it supposedly had 10 sapphires embedded in it.
Sapphires? Those fancy gemstones?
Yeah.
What do those have to do with antennas?
Believe it or not, NASA actually uses lab-grown sapphires and rubies in their high-tech equipment.
Really?
They're used in devices called masers, which help purify microwave signals for radio astronomy.
Wow.
So those sapphires in the staff might have been crucial for transmitting and receiving specific frequencies.
Okay, so we've got Moses potentially radiating energy with a sapphire-studded staff tuned to some special frequency.
Yeah.
This is already mind-blowing, but
Yeah.
where does the Ark of the Covenant fit into all of this? Was it just a fancy box?
The source actually claims that the staffs of the 12 tribes of Israel were designed to fit inside the ark.
Okay.
And this is where things get really interesting because it suggests a connection to electrical engineering.
Are you saying the Ark of the Covenant might have been some kind of ancient power source?
Well,
I mean, it was considered a sacred object, right?
exactly. The theory is that the ark acted as a giant electrical capacitor.
Yeah.
And the staffs, with their amplified bioelectricity, were what charged it up.
Huh.
It's like a battery being charged from multiple sources.
So we're talking about this sacred object potentially being a high-powered energy device.
It's possible.
Why? What was its purpose?
Well, this is where the Great Pyramid comes in.
Okay.
There's speculation that the ark might have actually been part of the pyramid's power system.
Wait, are we talking about the ancient Egyptian pyramids being connected to the Ark of the Covenant?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
It sounds wild, I know.
Yeah.
But stick with me here.
Okay.
The source proposes that the Great Pyramid itself was a massive crystal oscillator, which is a fancy way of saying it generated specific frequencies that could be harnessed.
A crystal oscillator.
Yeah.
Like something out of a science fiction movie.
Right.
Let me understand this.
Imagine a technology that creates vibrations at a very precise frequency.
Okay.
That's what a crystal oscillator does.
Okay.
And the theory is that the pyramids were built to generate these frequencies for a specific purpose.
So how did the Ark, charged by the staffs, play a role in this system?
Remember how we talked about the staffs acting like antennas?
Yeah.
Well, picture this. The person holding the staff connected to the ark could tap into the frequencies being generated by the Great Pyramid.
Wow.
They become a conduit.
Okay.
Accessing this vast energy source.
Wow. So we're talking about ancient wireless power transmission.
Yeah.
Was this like Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower? The one he designed to send power wirelessly?
It's a fascinating parallel.
Okay.
Tesla envisioned transmitting power without wires.
Right.
And this theory suggests that the ancient Egyptians might have achieved something similar with the pyramids and the Ark. It's mind-blowing to think they might have possessed such advanced technology.
It definitely challenges everything we thought we knew about the past.
Right.
And since we're on the topic of ancient technology, what about those images of the Dendera light bulb found in Egyptian hieroglyphs?
Right.
Could that be connected to this whole power system?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The source actually challenges the idea that it was a light bulb.
Right.
Instead, they believe it might have been an inductor, which is a device used for transmitting frequencies, possibly even those generated by the pyramids.
So we're talking about a frequency transmission system instead of just an ancient light bulb.
Potentially.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But how does all of this relate back to Moses and him communicating with God?
This is where we move from energy transmission to something even more fascinating. The possibility of telepathic communication happening through radio frequencies.
Telepathy. Are you suggesting Moses was having phone calls with God using radio waves?
Not exactly phone calls.
But the idea isn't totally far-fetched.
The
source points to research by a German physicist named Fritz Albert Popp. He found that human DNA can actually transmit and receive radio waves.
So you're telling me our bodies are basically walking antennas?
Precisely.
That's wild.
And the staff, being tuned to that special frequency we discussed,
Okay.
could have amplified those biosignals,
Okay.
allowing for communication over vast distances.
Interesting.
The source even suggests our spines, with all that calcium, act as natural conductors.
Wait, our spines are like built-in antennas?
Yeah.
This is blowing my mind, but if that's the case, how did Moses figure out how to do this?
Right.
How did he find the right frequency to communicate with God?
The source proposes that Moses actually used the staff to calibrate his nervous system.
Okay.
It's like fine-tuning his body.
Okay.
To receive communication on the specific frequency the staff emitted.
Okay.
Think of it like adjusting a radio dial to find the right station. Okay, so if Moses was using the staff like this, was it involved when he received the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Was he actively communicating with God at that moment?
Right.
That's a question the source leaves open to interpretation.
Okay.
But if we consider the staff as this high-tech antenna, capable of amplifying bioelectricity and enabling communication on specific frequencies, it's definitely an intriguing thought, isn't it?
Absolutely. This whole concept of the staff as an advanced technological tool is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But if Moses had this kind of technology, what about other ancient figures? Could they have been using similar tools?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that leads us to explore even more possibilities.
Okay.
If the staff of Moses was indeed this advanced, what other ancient artifacts might we be misinterpreting? Were these ancient civilizations far more technologically advanced than we give them credit for?
This is some serious food for thought. I need a moment to process all of this.
Yeah.
It completely changes our understanding of the past.
For sure. Yeah, it really does make you reconsider everything.
Totally. And if ancient civilizations were harnessing energy and communicating in ways we're just beginning to understand, it feels like we're missing this huge piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. And that's what makes exploring these alternative theories so exciting.
Yeah.
It's about pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Right.
And considering ideas that might seem outlandish at first.
I totally agree. It's like we're piecing together a puzzle.
Right.
But realizing some of the pieces might belong to a completely different picture than we originally thought.
Exactly. And that's where critical thinking comes in.
Right.
We can't just accept these theories at face value.
Right.
We need to examine the evidence, consider different perspectives, and weigh the possibilities.
For sure. Speaking of evidence, the source material mentions that the number 72 keeps appearing in connection with the staff and Moses. Is there something special about that number?
It's definitely interesting. The source points out that the Shroud of Turin, which some believe to be the burial cloth of Jesus, suggests he was around 72 inches tall. Interestingly, that's the same height as the person sharing these theories in the source material.
Okay, so there's a height connection, but what does that have to do with the staff of Moses?
The source also highlights that there were 72 lesser disciples of Christ. And that the ancient Hebrew Kabbalah speaks of 72 names of God.
So 72 appears in both biblical and ancient mystical contexts.
Right.
But I'm still not seeing how it relates to the staff's function as this potential antenna.
It's true that the source doesn't explicitly connect the dots.
Right.
But it keeps emphasizing the importance of length and frequency when it comes to the staff.
Yeah.
Perhaps the number 72, representing a specific height or measurement, is somehow tied to the frequency the staff operated on.
So are we talking about a hidden code, 72 inches of specific frequency, a connection to divine communication? It's all very mysterious.
It's definitely a tantalizing possibility.
Yeah.
And it raises a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Were these figures from Moses to Jesus
Yeah.
not just spiritual leaders,
Right.
but also keepers of advanced knowledge?
Knowledge that's been lost over time, maybe even deliberately suppressed.
Right.
It's almost like we've lost the instruction manual for some of these ancient technologies.
Precisely. And perhaps by examining these ancient artifacts and texts with a fresh perspective, we can begin to piece together those instructions and understand our past in a whole new way.
It's like we're on an archaeological dig.
Right.
But instead of uncovering physical objects,
Yeah.
we're excavating lost knowledge.
Exactly.
And that knowledge could challenge everything we thought we knew about history technology.
Right.
Even the nature of reality itself.
Absolutely.
Speaking of challenging assumptions, the source material mentions something called the royal cubit inch. What exactly is that, and why is it significant in all of this?
The royal cubit inch is an ancient unit of measurement.
Okay.
It's believed to be about 20.6 inches long.
Okay.
And was apparently used in the construction of sacred structures like the Great Pyramid and Solomon's Temple.
So it wasn't just some random measurement.
Yeah.
They used it in these incredibly significant buildings.
Yeah.
But how does it tie into the staff and the theories we're discussing?
Well, the source claims that if you use the royal cubit inch to analyze the dimensions of the Holy of Holies, the inner chamber of Solomon's Temple where the Ark of the Covenant was kept, you discover a connection to the Great Pyramid's mathematics.
Wait, so we're finding a mathematical link between a Jewish temple and an Egyptian pyramid? That's unexpected.
It is. And the source goes even further, suggesting that the length of the Ark of the Covenant, and by extension the Staff of Moses, is directly related to a key number found in the Great Pyramid's geometry. 5151.
5115. Okay, now I'm really lost. What's so special about that number?
It comes from multiplying the royal cubit inch measurement by 2.5, which represents the length of the ark in cubits. And get that 5151 also appears in the angle of the Great Pyramid's slope.
Wow.
51 degrees, 51 minutes, and 25 seconds.
So there's definitely a mathematical connection between the Ark, the Staff, and the Great Pyramid.
Right.
But what's the big takeaway here? How do these measurements relate to the theories about energy and communication?
The source suggests that this precise length, represented by the number 51151, is connected to the specific frequency the staff and the ark operated on.
Hold on. You're saying this isn't just a random measurement.
Right.
It's the key to unlocking the frequency of this ancient technology. How could they have figured that out thousands of years ago?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The source attributes this knowledge to divine inspiration, implying that the architects of these structures were guided by a higher intelligence.
So it's like they were given the blueprints for this technology from a source beyond our understanding.
It's a possibility.
If that's true, then why was this knowledge lost? What happened?
That's a mystery that continues to fascinate historians and researchers.
It's like we're missing a huge chunk of our history. I wonder what other secrets might be hidden in those undiscovered chapters.
It's a good reminder that our understanding of the past is constantly evolving. New discoveries and interpretations can completely change our perspective on history and what we think we know.
And who knows what incredible technologies or insights might be waiting to be unearthed from our past.
That's what's so exciting about exploration and discovery. There's always more to learn, and sometimes the most incredible revelations come from questioning the things we thought were settled fact.
I totally agree. This deep dive into the staff of Moses has definitely opened my mind to possibilities I never considered before.
And that's the power of exploring these alternative theories. They challenge us to think differently and to imagine a past that might be far more complex and intriguing than we ever thought possible.
You're right. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. But where do we go from here? What other aspects of this theory should we explore? Yeah, it feels like we're standing at the edge of this uncharted territory. Realizing the map we've been using might be totally wrong.
It is both exciting and a little daunting, isn't it? To think that there's so much we still don't understand about our own past.
Totally. So if we entertain this idea that the staff of Moses was this advanced antenna,
right,
harnessing energy, enabling communication. What does that tell us about Moses himself? Was he more than just a prophet?
The source paints this picture of Moses as not only a spiritual leader, but also a skilled engineer, someone who understood and utilized technology that was far ahead of its time.
So we're talking about a tech-savvy mystic, someone who bridged the gap between the spiritual and the scientific.
Right.
Changes our whole perception of him.
Exactly. It challenges that traditional image we have of ancient prophets as simply receiving divine messages passively.
Right.
Maybe they were actively engaging with these energies.
Right.
Using tools and techniques we're only now beginning to rediscover.
It's mind-blowing. It makes you wonder if those ancient civilizations understood the interconnectedness of energy consciousness and the universe in a way we've lost touch with.
It's a compelling thought, and it leads to another question. If these ancient technologies were so advanced, why were they lost? What happened to that knowledge?
It's the big question, isn't it? Was it intentional suppression of knowledge? A catastrophic event that wiped out civilizations? Or just the slow erosion of understanding over time?
There are lots of theories, but no definitive answers.
Yep.
Maybe it's a combination of factors, but the fact that we're even asking these questions now that we're reconsidering the capabilities of ancient cultures, it shows that our awareness is expanding. We're open to new possibilities.
This deep dive into the staff of Moses has been a wild ride.
It has.
We started with this simple shepherd staff and ended up exploring ancient antennas, pyramids as power sources, even telepathic communication.
It really highlights the power of curiosity and the importance of challenging assumptions. Sometimes the most unexpected journeys lead to the most profound discoveries.
So what's the key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with from this deep dive?
I hope it encourages you to question everything. To look beyond the accepted narrative and consider the possibility that our history might be far more complex and awe-inspiring than we ever imagined. Who knows what other secrets we might uncover if we dare to look with fresh eyes and open minds.
Well said. This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
Full of mind-bending ideas and thought-provoking questions. And we always encourage you, our listeners, to continue exploring. Do your own research. Delve deeper into these topics and see where your curiosity takes you. You never know what amazing discoveries you might make.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown.